Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode with iTrek. Huge shout out to everybody that is just tapped in, man. Hey, we got a lot going on today. But before we get into it all, make sure to smash that hype button, that like button, and if you're not a part of the iTrek fam, hit that subscribe button, man. And let's go ahead and get into these creepy and interesting videos that I found.
Check this out, Meta adjusts its pressure. It's pretty nuts. But here's one of the craziest use cases: digital fashion. In the all from your couch. This will create an entirely new virtual shopping category where brands could build out unique physical experiences in the digital world. Now this is a bit of a futuristic example, but you get the point. New category of embodied experiences.
But for the average Joe that doesn't want to get up and go actually feel the textures of any kind of clothes or anything else for that fact of the matter, you might just stay at home. Like, you might just never leave if that's the case. And that sounds like a trap.
Vegetarians have smaller brains. The less a human eats meat, then the smaller the brain becomes. The brain is so dependent on the nutrient density that comes from animal-sourced foods that it will suffer when it doesn't get them.
Hey, he just hit all the vegans and vegetarians with a plot twist. I can imagine how they're feeling right about now.
You know how Australia is known for having some of the most insane animals in the world? Considering the spiders there look like this and finding them in your bedroom is like a totally normal thing. Well, apparently now they are having shark infestations, to the point where 4 different attacks have taken place over the past several days, and authorities are advising everyone who lives in Sydney not to go swimming. What's even sadder is that a 12-year-old boy recently lost his life after going to the harbor with his friends because there was a bull shark there. So honestly, a part of me would avoid Australia at any costs because all I hear about is how crazy their wildlife is.
John St. Clair, he was a mechanical engineer and he filed a patent to walk through walls. He filed another patent for anti-gravitic propulsion system for triangular spacecrafts.
How did he get the patent approved? That's crazy.
Well, here's the thing. He filed the patent, and literally when you file a patent, you're filing it with the government.
Yeah.
So the trail goes cold and he disappears, and then he just ends up dying mysteriously in 2021.
Oh,
of course.
Wow.
They're like, nice
technology.
invention.
Yeah.
Give me that.
I didn't know the government ran the patent system.
You have to file your patents with the U.S. Department of Commerce.
Dude, that's crazy, because if you have a good idea, they could just...
They could take it. They can just be an inventor and be like, oh yeah, you know what? Abandon that patent to where people think it's just bullshit.
Yeah.
Get hired and come work
Wow.
This is not snow, boy. This is fake stove. This is fake. They covering up the shit, bro. This is fake, boy. Look at this. This is fake. This is salt, bro. Fake. Unfortunately, I do not live near the snow. I'm on the west coast of America where it's pretty sunny. So if that looks like it's capped, let me know. And if it's not, let me know.
We got some snow from outside.
Still in the house.
Cause Papa
Not melted down yet.
is not convinced it's real.
Is real snow?
I said you're not convinced it's real. Wow, it don't melt. Is it burning?
I smell it burning. Look at that.
That's crazy.
Yo, this is not snow, Joe.
Oh my
Now,
God.
y'all know me for real in real time. Y'all know me for real. Yeah, yo, this shit ain't real, G. We done brought this from outside, broke it to the 4th floor, through the elevator, through the halls. Now let me get an ice cube out the refrigerator. That shit go melt.
Immediately. That's crazy.
Y'all see this? And it do smell like plastic. I was trying to make justice of what dude was saying it smell like plastic, but I don't know what type of chemicals they using. Look at that, y'all.
Wow.
Y'all see that? It's a real bit. It's real whatever they had outside.
Ain't no dripping or nothing.
Ain't no dripping.
Wow.
Y'all, they making this shit, y'all. They making this shit. This shit is not real snow. Y'all think of go get you some outside. Like that, bitch. We done been in the house for a minute now. Yeah.
I don't even want this in the house. We finna throw this back outside. F that. I don't want this. My pipes up. Open the door. Yeah, take this shit back. It don't melt. It don't burn.
That's why the grass still ain't grass. I mean, you know what I mean?
This shit crazy.
The trees would have been white already, like, you know what I mean? Would have been white.
He pointed out a few more facts at the end, which kind of ties it all together. The trees definitely should have been all snowed out. You know, it shouldn't have been too much green around to really see. So I really don't know what to make of it. I don't live in Tennessee, but all the iTrack fam in Tennessee and surrounding areas, let me know if that's a thing.
Okay, no fucking joke. I'm loading up wood, and I look up, and this is what I see. Wait for it. Why does it look like a goddamn Yeti? Anybody? Because it's real tall. I'm not down with it. Alright. I think it's time to go back inside now.
ICE has used facial recognition over 100,000 times since June, and a new lawsuit reveals they're scanning children too. 2 teenagers were stopped while riding their bikes near an Illinois high school. They were U.S. citizens. One agent asked another, "Can you do facial?" and pointed a phone at the teenager's face. It's the same app we've talked about before, Mobile Fortify. DHS is storing these children's photos for up to 15 years. A kid stopped today could have their biometric data in a federal database until they're 30, with no arrest, charges, or suspicion of a crime. DHS policy says age is a protected class, but there's no parental consent required and no way to get your kid's data removed.
The wild part about that is at one point in time, you literally had to have been arrested and got fingerprinted to be in any kind of database. And now you could just be riding your bike and you're in somebody's database. I don't like where this is going.
Creator, source, God, is the one that creates life, that creates structure of reality. God created reality. Other conscious beings can come into this reality. And it's just one of many, called the 15-dimensional time matrix, that's 950 billion years old. Life started in the highest universe, which is antimatter. This is before planets, before alien races, pre-planets, pre-extraterrestrials. And so these life forms are called Elohai. This is the Emerald Order group. And there's the next group is called Seraphi. They're the Gold Order group. This is the Violet Flame group, the Brahmarama, Amethyst Order group, or you could say Gold Flame, Blue Flame, Violet Flame. And so these are collectives, families. At the highest level of the 15-dimensional time matrix, they created life and planets and races in the lower density form.
On today's episode of That's Suspicious.
That's suspicious.
When I was watching the Golden Globes, the only thing I could think is that Leonardo DiCaprio looked like Jack Nicholson. So I started down the rabbit hole. Did you know that this is who Leonardo DiCaprio says is his dad? This is a picture of Jack Nicholson's son. Here is some pictures of Leonardo DiCaprio and Jack Nicholson. Now, did you know that they were neighbors so close that they could walk to each other's house? When Leo was little, he used to go play over at Jack Nicholson's house. Jack Nicholson gave him advice on acting, gave him advice on women. Leonardo DiCaprio's mom would have been exactly 30 when she got pregnant with him. So, after digging deep into the internet, I find out that she once said in an article that was not Leo's biological father, but that she met him when she was pregnant and they were married. So, who is Leo's real dad? I think he needs an ancestry test. What do you think?
Now that would be a cold piece of work to find out years later that Jack Nicholson was indeed your father. That would be wild.
Now, they have figured out a way through Bluetooth technology and beacons in the store to ping your phone. So now they don't have to rely on their own infrastructure and cameras to track you. Your phone is going to do it for them because it's hooked up to your Bluetooth.
A small device that runs on batteries would be installed on a wall, a countertop, or a ceiling of a retail store. And it could be many of them installed there. They would in turn send out very short data strings to all the Bluetooth receivers around them, typically your smartphone. And it doesn't require all that tedious pairing and connection. Now, the short little messages that the Bluetooth beacon sends out that your phone picks up instruct your phone to go to the web and pull down content that's related to where you are or what you're doing. It can be very focused on the immediate area where you're standing, or it could be widened out to relate to the entire store. Beacons could reach out to your phone on the sidewalk, let's say, to urge you to come into a store based on its products, special offers, or your past patronage. The
number one question I get from people is, they must be listening to my phone because I always get these targeted ads and I didn't tell anybody I was at Saks Fifth Avenue yesterday. I didn't tell anybody I was at Walmart. How do they know that I was looking for pencils? They know because they're tracking you. And they knew you hung around the pencils, but you didn't buy them. And they want to know why. So they're like, maybe it was the price. So let's incentivize them. Let's send them a coupon. Let's send them a gentle reminder. So that's how this all works.
Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, is publicly apologizing for his history of anti-Semitic and offensive comments in a full-page advertisement in the Wall Street Journal titled, "To Those I've Hurt." Ye writes, quote, "I am not a Nazi or an anti-Semite. I love Jewish people." He also apologized to the black community. The rapper blamed his behavior on an undiagnosed brain injury and mental health issues.
Ye is so polarizing that I'm very interested in seeing where this goes, because he was on the complete end of the spectrum about a year ago.
Hey, it's cold in New York. That's how cold we mean.
New York and Chicago got to be in competition to be one of the coldest states in America.
Scientists just discovered how this man's body works. This is Nick Carson. Whenever he eats potatoes or any other high carbohydrate meal, his speech begins to slur. If he continues to eat, he starts to lose his balance and is struck by sudden mood swings. After years of misdiagnosis, doctors found that Carson's gut was turning the carbohydrates he eats into alcohol, specifically ethanol, an extremely rare medical disorder known as auto-brewery syndrome. With only 100 reported cases worldwide, ABS has baffled scientists for over a century. The assumption was that yeasts were the culprits, similar to how they ferment sugars into alcohol in beer. However, in new research by Mass General Brigham and UC San Diego, researchers analyzed the fecal samples from 22 ABS patients, along with healthy controls. Using metagenomic sequencing, they identified striking imbalances in the populations of gut bacteria that were present, particularly in high levels of members from the Proteobacteria family, which are known to convert carbohydrates into ethanol. Now, everyone produces trace amounts of alcohol during digestion, but in people with ABS, these bacteria and their fermentation enzymes go into hyperdrive, flooding the bloodstream with alcohol faster than the liver can process it, so much so that researchers even found ethanol in the fecal samples. In an example of the only real treatment we've found so far, doctors at Massachusetts General Hospital tried transplanting a fecal sample from a healthy volunteer into a patient with ABS, and over several months their symptoms began to lessen until ultimately they vanished for about a year. There are, as of yet, no reports of people requesting the reverse procedure. If you like science and just got a new definition of beer belly, follow for more.
Hey, that's pretty crazy. Instead of going out and getting a 6-pack of brew, he just got a bag of potatoes and got the same results.
As you're going to see something very bizarre in this video that was shared with me by Ian Chandler out of rural London, England. We're going to get right to it. Here we go. You're looking at a fox in his backyard that was picked up by his motion-activated security camera. He sets out food and water for this fox that comes around every once in a while, and this was one of those nights that it came around at 1:01 in the morning, and he's standing back here minding his own business, eating the food, drinking the water, when all of a sudden you can see he's noticing something over here by the fence. So he walks over to the fence, starts kind of looking around, smelling around. This is the fence right here that I've inserted. I'll show it to you again. That's the fence in the daytime. Did you see what happened? The fox disappeared, walked right through the fence. The time sequence did not change. This video has not been altered in any way. Watch it again up close. Okay, he's standing there eating, minding his own business, when all of a sudden he notices something. He's drawn to the fence. So he walks over to the fence, stops. Something has him very drawn to the fence. Then all of a sudden, he just walks right through the fence. Are you serious right now? You can't make this stuff up. With all of the billions of cameras around the world that are recording 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, they're bound to catch something mysterious like this, because we do live in a spiritual, energetic world, and every once in a while it's bound to happen that something unexplainable is going to be captured on camera. And I think this was one of those times by Ian out of rural London, England. And as you can see, there's no broken parts to this fence whatsoever. It's in pristine condition, but somehow on this night the fox walked right through the fence. Make that makes sense. Truth is indeed stranger than fiction.
This is spyware that can infect your phone without you tapping anything, opening anything, or even knowing it happened. Just receiving a message is enough. WhatsApp just released a feature designed to fight back. Here's what spyware can do. Once it's on your device, it can access extremely sensitive data. Your messages, your photos, your passwords, your location. It can even turn on your camera and microphone without you knowing. Journalists, activists, and public figures have been targeted. Thousands of people have been exposed through attacks like these. So WhatsApp built a security feature called strict account settings. It's under privacy, then advanced settings. Turn it on and it locks down your security settings and blocks attachments from anyone not in your contacts, which cuts off one of the main ways spyware gets in. It will change the way you use WhatsApp, so it's not for everyday use, but as someone who covers surveillance and privacy, I think this is an important feature for you to know about. These sorts of spyware attacks are rare, but if you think you could be a target, it's worth considering.
Are you guys ready for IVG? Same-sex marriage couples now, they can have children, real children of their own. All they need is IVG.
I just went down the rabbit hole for IVG. IVG stands for in vitro gametogenesis, or making gametes, aka sex cells, entirely in a petri dish to make more human beings. No procreation required. One of the main reasons that this technology is currently being developed is to allow for genetic offspring of a same-sex couple to be genetically related to both of them. And you might be saying to yourself, that's impossible. 2 men or 2 women cannot possibly have a child that's genetically related to both of them. Till now, I guess, because we are literally developing the technology to harvest pluripotent stem cells from 2 men or 2 women, manually differentiate those cells in a laboratory into sperm cells and egg cells, then use IVF technology entirely in petri dishes in a laboratory to make new human beings.
People have talked about so-called multiplex parenting. You could use IVG to create 2 embryos, use the IVG technique again to create sperm and eggs, and then create yet a 3rd embryo. Now you have essentially what is genetically a grandchild.
And they murdered the 2 other embryos.
Exactly. And you could do this as many iterations as you wanted. That you could create a child whose biological parents, grandparents, great-grandparents were all embryos that were created and destroyed in a laboratory.
He could be creating entire generations of people that nobody even knows exist outside of a laboratory.
Now, this should be the benchmarker for you to understand how fast technology is moving. 2-3 years ago, this was not a conversation, wasn't even a thing, and neither was AI. And now we're here. Like, what's next?
So Netflix is currently live streaming this guy climbing the 11th tallest building in the world with no ropes. This is called free solo climbing, and the man is Alex Honnold, one of the world's greatest free solo climbers. At this point in the live stream, he is just getting past the very base of this skyscraper. And one of the most challenging things about climbing this skyscraper is that it has these large ornaments on the side. And you can hear just how nervous this makes the announcers.
Arms. Throw his leg up.
Just put your other hand on the thing. Why is it's just one arm and it.
And he will have to climb several of these ornaments all the way up. And climbing these metal structures is very different from climbing any type of rock. But they're saying the hardest part of this climb is actually the repetitive nature of climbing each of the window boxes. Because even though climbing over these massive ornaments looks very impressive and scary, the repetitive stress nature of doing the same move over and over again is actually more dangerous to the climber.
You know what? Hey, more power to him, because I would never, wouldn't want to even ever. It's pretty wild.
Alex Honnold talked about how he trained for climbing one of the tallest buildings in the world without any ropes. The first part of this training regimen was visualization of the different feelings he would be going through during this climb, mentally working through emotions so that they don't come up during the climb. Then that mental preparation helps inform the different physical training he has to do to simulate the stress that his body will be under. For example, he does hundreds of reps of these box pinch pull-ups. This is to replicate the sensation of the parts of the building he will be holding onto as he's working his way up. He also did hundreds of reps of push-ups, core workouts, and stretching, all to improve his strength. Because at the end of the day, most of this climb was doing the same moves over and over and was more of an endurance challenge. And what a lot of people don't realize is that free solo climbing like this is very methodically planned out. He's gone through the route before, knows every section by heart, so there are no surprises that come up while he's climbing. But Alex also brings up a really good point, that you can train and prepare as much as possible for a climb, but you never know what you're actually going to go through when you're up there on your own.
Hey, there was actually a complete metaphor for life if you missed it. You can prepare for life all you want to, but you'll definitely come up against some things that you didn't know was coming.
This guy refused to be a trillionaire, and because of that, he changed human history forever. Meet Tim Berners-Lee, the creator of the World Wide Web. Back in the late 1980s, he was a young computer scientist at CERN. He was surrounded by thousands of researchers, all using different computers and different programs. Nobody could openly share information, and nothing connected to anything. Then Tim had an idea that was simple but revolutionary. What if every document, every computer, every piece of information could link together? That idea turned into 3 inventions: HTML, the language of web pages, HTTP, the protocol to transfer them, and URL, the address system to find them. Together, that became the World Wide Web. Now, Tim didn't invent the internet, that already existed. It was just extremely technical and the average person couldn't use it. Tim created the thing that made the internet usable for everyone. But here's where the story gets interesting, because CERN wanted to patent it, where they would charge companies money and license the technology. However, Tim refused. He believed the web had to be open and free or it would never reach its full potential. So he just gave away the blueprint, the thing that powers Google, Amazon, social media, e-commerce, cloud computing, everything. If he even took a 0.01% royalty on the value created from the web, he'd be richer than Musk, Bezos, and Apple combined, and easily would have become the world's first trillionaire. But Tim didn't want the money, he wanted the freedom. He believed the internet belonged to everyone, not a single company, not a single government, not even him. And because of that choice, the web exploded. Entire industries were born, billions of people got connected, and the world changed forever. Tim Berners-Lee didn't just invent the web, he gave it away, and that decision might be the most generous act in tech history.
There were a few accurate things that he did say in that whole clip. And 2 of the things I picked up on was he didn't want the money, he wanted the freedom. And now, if he became a trillionaire, do you think he's going to be able to spend that money the way he would like to? I don't think so. I think that you become a trillionaire, they're watching you and you're not going to be able to, change whatever you think you want to change. You becoming a trillionaire, there's going to be more stress on you than you can actually imagine. So, they're going to make him seem all noble, but in all actuality, I don't think anybody really wants $1 trillion worth of stress.
It looks like the beast system is rising before our very eyes, and no one is even paying attention. 2 days ago at the World Economic Forum, where global leaders gather to decide global outcomes, something about AI and religion was talked about. Let's take a listen.
Anything made of words will be taken over by AI. If laws are made of words, then AI will take over the legal system. If books are just combinations of words, then AI will take over books. If religion is built from words, then AI will take over religion.
What it sounds like is AI will take over everything, from words to books to laws to religion. And that, my friend, is what the Bible has already told us. And then the Antichrist will rise from that and rule over the beast system. Wake up, because it looks like it's happening right before our eyes.
Now, if you didn't understand any of that, it couldn't have been more clear. Run it back, because it was absolutely clear what the agenda, what the plan is, and eventually you'll have to pick a side.
He's about to tell a story of one of his schizophrenic patients. If schizophrenic voices are hallucinations rather than actual demonic entities, this story doesn't make sense. If the voices are demons, though, it makes a lot of sense.
One guy told me he was hearing voices. He said the voices would tell me he would rob places. He said the voices would tell me which houses to break into, when the people were up in there, and then where to go hide when I got out. He said, I was making a lot of money robbing houses. He told me one story where he broke into a house, got in the window. The voices told him about where the loot was, not exactly where, just a general area. And he found it, and then as soon as he found it, one of the owners woke up, and the voices warned him, said, "They're up, get out of there." All right, so he got out, and apparently the owner had called the police, and he jumped out the window, and he was going to go down this alley to his left, and the voices said, "No, don't go down there. The police are coming down that alley. Go to the right." So he ran to the right, and they told him to hide in a garbage bin, one of those big metal garbage bins. And sure enough, as soon as he got out of the way, the cops pulled up to the house through that alley where they said the voices said they would come. So they told him to hide in this garbage bin. He was hiding in the garbage bin, and the cop walked by with a flashlight. As soon as he passed, the voices were telling him, "Okay, now get up and get out of there and run." And he said, no, it's too soon. They're too close. And the voice said, do it. Just close it quietly. Do it. So he did, and he made it back to his apartment, but he left all his loot in the trash can. So he said when he got back to his apartment, the voices were telling him, good job, you did a good job. And he said, no, I didn't do that good a job. I left all the loot in the garbage can. The voices said, no problem. You just go get it in the morning. You know? And he said he was very successful at robbing houses that way. And I said, well, if you were so successful, what are you doing here? And he said, well, I got greedy and I broke into a house they told me not to. He said, that's the one I got caught in.
Hey, now that's creepy. That's definitely creepy. And the reason why it's creepy is because I don't think the government is going to put a voice in your head or help you get away with any of that. There had to be, there definitely was an evil entity guiding them through that whole process.
Hardest thing to explain on Flat Earth is the 24-hour sun down in Antarctica. This video was taken from a group of popular flat earthers who went down there because they did not believe there was a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. It does look kind of weird because it changes shapes, kind of like a football shape, and then it goes back. And some people tried to say that it was fake even though it was live streamed or that it was filmed in a studio. It was called The Final Experiment, and it ended with the flat earthers ended up saying that, hey, it must be a globe, unless somebody could find a flat earth model that proved that this is possible. And some people try to say if the rotation goes all the way around the ice wall, that could be possible. But if you're standing down here and it goes all the way up here, you're not going to be able to see it from down here. Which this would be more what that looks like, because if they were standing here, it would go in front of them and behind them. But I've also seen other explanations saying that what they're seeing is a reflection of the sun as it goes around on the firmament. Now I saw somebody showed this model that as the sun goes around, it also reflects on the firmament in different rotations. Which this is another visual of how that would look. If you were standing here, you would see it going around you because it's reflecting off of the firmament. So I don't know, what do you guys think?
New study takes a look at which jobs are the most AI resistant. Resume Now, I wanted to say resume now. You won't get a job reading it like that. Resume Now analyzed 3 key human skills: adaptability, stress tolerance, and self-control. The idea is that the more pressure, judgment, and emotional control a job requires, the harder it might be for AI to take it over. At the top of the list, nurse, oh gosh, will you say this?
Anesthetist?
There you go. Emergency doctors, judges, general surgeons, and commercial pilots. Healthcare and aviation dominate the rankings. All jobs were split-second decisions are everything. The website also recently looked at the best AI-resistant entry-level jobs. They found the dental hygienist to be number 1.
That all these conditions have to be met or pretty close to it before the Antichrist shows up on the scene. So when he shows up, all of these things have to be in place. Israel has to be a nation again. Syria has to be a nation again. Israel has to tenuously hold the Temple Mount, not just hold it, but tenuously, because if they really controlled the Temple Mount, they would just build their temple. But they've had it since 1967. They still haven't built. That's 58 years, right? The Prince of the Covenant, hypothetically, should already be on the scene. I think that's Jared Kushner. That was 2017. The covenant with many has to be already in place. That's biblical because it says that the Antichrist signs on to the treaty. He signs on to it, so the treaty already exists. And it's a treaty with many, so it's between Israel and several countries. What's our candidate for that? Obviously, the Abraham Accords, right? Revelation technologies are in place, and then the modern age, what the world looks like according to not just Judeo-Christian eschatology, but also Muslim eschatology. And everything matches, and that's, people will be running to and fro. That means unprecedented in human history. Humans will just be on the move. Is that not true in the last 100 years of the human race, especially today? Knowledge will greatly increase. Knowledge will be more available, more easily available. All human knowledge. This is all human knowledge, and you can access any of it instantly. That's pretty wild, right? In Muslim eschatology, it describes transgenderism, LGBTQ, like worse than ever. That's a culture, it's a spirit. And then giant cities, they'll build towering structures. Last 100 years, right? Judeo-Christian eschatology, all the points that the Antichrist, whoever he turns out to be, whoever he is, he has to check all these boxes when he first shows up on the scene. This guy checks all the boxes.
Now that's wild. There's a whole checklist we got to be on the lookout for. But understand this, no man knows the date or the time.
You know, the judge in Netanyahu's corruption case in Israel was killed in a car crash last weekend. Now, I've been seeing this all over social media, so I wanted to see how real this was. And the crash itself is actually very suspicious, and we're going to read straight from the Times of Israel. The president of the Beersheba District Court, Judge Benny Saji, was killed on Sunday after a vehicle crashed into his motorcycle while he was traveling on Route 6. According to the police, a vehicle that was driving off-road came up onto the highway and hit Saji's motorbike. They said they found Saji laying on the road with multiple injuries and no vital signs and declared him dead at the scene. Here's a picture. It's pretty disturbing, but if you didn't know, Netanyahu is part of an ongoing trial of cases 1,000, 2,000, and 4,000. This judge in particular was the judge of case 3,000, and this was a major Israeli corruption investigation involving the purchase of German submarines and naval vessels for Israel's navy. Netanyahu wasn't indicted for this, but he was questioned and he did testify for it. In my opinion, no, this is still very, very suspicious.
Facial recognition is old news. The government just funded something far more terrifying, whole body recognition. It's a new AI called Farsight, and it can identify you from a drone over half-mile away just by the way you walk. It doesn't need to see your face. It analyzes your gait, your body shape, and then runs it through a database to find you. This is happening right now, developed by researchers at Michigan State University. And the most disturbing part, this technology is specifically designed to get around facial recognition bans. Cities can ban cops from using facial recognition, but this isn't facial recognition, this is a loophole. The project is funded by IARPA, the research arm of U.S. spy agencies. Their goal is to put this on drones, watchtowers, or any high-altitude camera. They can already do it through atmospheric turbulence from a high angle when your face is completely obscured. It's no longer just about what you post online, it's how you move through the world.
We're going with the $10,000 technology, Neuralink, which is a computer chip surgically implanted into the brain, enabling people like Nolan here to reconnect to the world. So you were paralyzed from the neck down.
Yeah, and for about 8 years, I was trying to find some purpose in my life.
And then you got Neuralink, and what has that changed?
Anything anyone can do on a computer, I can do.
And he literally does it by using only his brain. You are currently moving that with your thoughts.
Yeah, man.
I want to see you send a text with your brain.
Okay.
His hands are paralyzed, but we're going to film them so you can see they're not moving. And using the neurons firing in Nolan's brain, Neuralink can translate those signals into movements. He just typed hi with his mind. Is this not crazy to anyone else? But that's not all he can do. So you just think left, and you're about to turn left.
Left, right, don't die.
No!
There we go.
He absolutely crushed us playing with only his mind.
I never thought would allow me to do anything like this.
Today, President Trump said if Canada makes a deal to become China's new drop-off port to send goods and products into the United States, then he would immediately implement a 100% tariff against all Canadian goods. President Trump also said a trade deal between Canada and China would destroy Canadian businesses.
A robot just learned to lip sync like a human by watching YouTube.
Hello. I am Emo.
Researchers at Columbia Engineering trained a realistic robotic face called Emo to match speech and singing just by observing online videos.
Mama, Papa, Grandma, Grandpa, brother, sister.
No language rules, no phonetics cheat sheet, just sound in, motion out. The system learned how lips, jaw, and cheeks move together, even syncing correctly in languages it was never trained on.
Hola, soy Emo. 안녕하세요. 나는 이모입니다.
Follow for grounded stories where machines learn to be more human.
Hey, is it making more sense now? AI is about to be infinitely intelligent because we see they're taking in information from every angle. And they're going to end up speaking better than you.
For a lot of people, once they become independently wealthy, they just can't bring themselves to work, or they don't want to work. And that's totally, understandable and no judgment. I mean, I have a lot of friends who are extremely talented, and they have had some success earlier in life, and they just decided, that was enough trauma. Good friend of mine saying, like, for starting a company is like eating glass and staring into the abyss. So when people tell me, like, what can you do to encourage entrepreneurs to start companies? I'm like, if you need encouragement, don't start a company.
So if you're trying to get signed to a major label, there's gatekeepers. If you're trying to get on certain media platforms to get interviewed, there's gatekeepers. If you're trying to get on the mainstream radio, you heard me, urban radio, there's gatekeepers. I've had gatekeepers in the music industry who have literally tried to hold a record deal behind their back and let me know, like, look, if you're a part of this homosexual act that I'm trying to take part in, you heard me? Yeah, come on, this door open real quick for you. Like, I got a song where I've talked about that before called The Devil's Playground. Like, this is real, dog. And The only way that type of stuff can work on you is if you let them have all the leverage to where you want what's behind that gate that bad. So that's a real thing. Me personally, I definitely dealt with that, brother. Like I said, I done rapped about it and everything. So I didn't want the deal that bad. When I was like, nah, like I'm good. You know, this was at a music video shoot. So when I was like, nah, I'm cool. You know, for the rest of the day, it was like, oh, no more attention from this person. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, this person ain't really willing to meet with you or talk to you or even like further the idea of talking about working with you. So once you see that you're getting that cold shoulder, or once I seen that I was getting that cold shoulder, I was like, well, I won't be getting signed today.
There's not just gatekeepers in this, entertainment industry. Anybody who's cutting a check quite literally is a gatekeeper. Anybody who's in between you and what you're after.
Most First Nations people said, we don't want our pictures taken because you're going to take our souls. Those who run this world collect data, whether it's on genealogies, DNA, blood. They might want to use that for rituals. The larger play got to do with being able to track everybody all the time. That's important to them from a bloodline perspective in terms of who they want to live in this world downstream and who they don't, and people who may be promoted into certain industries and things. It helps to create a database appropriate for aligned disembodied spirits for some sort of sleeve or clone body. There's all of this ability to abuse people and to control with that information. I think that they have very much clearly understood that this whole world works on information.
It's no secret that King Charles lives a life of luxury, but some of his luxurious demands may come as a surprise to most people. Former royal butler Paul Burrell has revealed just some of the king's daily demands. From having his pajamas pressed every morning, his shoelaces being pressed flat with an iron, to even his bath plug needing to be in a certain position. Burrell also explained that one of the king's valets must squeeze 1 inch of toothpaste onto his toothbrush every morning, and that when Charles is on his travels, he takes his own toilet seat and velvet lavatory paper.
It's very easy to judge him, but, let you get enough money and clout. We'll see what kind of demands you'll be asking.
And the reminder of why you should always lock your doors no matter what. This disturbing Ring camera footage shows a disheveled woman wearing a white dress wandering through a residential stairway in the middle of the night while holding a knife in her mouth. She paces back and forth, systematically trying apartment doors, stopping at each one to see if it's unlocked. When she realizes they're locked, she bends down and checks under the doormats, clearly searching for hidden spare keys before moving on to the next door. She even stares directly into the camera while moving from door to door, seemingly unaware or unconcerned by how terrifying she looks. Still armed, she walks up the stairs to another floor and continues scanning hallways, before reportedly lingering outside more apartments as the video cuts off. Her appearance, combined with the fact that she was half-dressed and carrying a knife in her mouth, made many people fear that she wasn't simply trespassing, but was potentially on drugs or mentally ill while actively looking for someone to hurt, showing how close a single unlocked door can come to turning into something far worse.
Obviously, she was on drugs. And it's also pretty obvious she had a death wish. You got a knife in your mouth. Anybody with the doorbell Ring camera, man, I'm pretty sure they're intent on protecting their home. So you're going to walk into the wrong home, and that's going to be your last night trying to enter somebody's house.
Yeah, y'all might as well stop eating all types of meat now, because Mr. Beast just exposed this company, Upside Foods, that they've been producing genetically modified chickens since 2018. They said it took 220 million chickens to feed Americans per year, but now they just create them in the lab, y'all. This is crazy.
Brings us to Upside Foods that has literally produced hundreds of thousands of pounds of chicken meat without killing a single chicken, which is incredible because over 220 million chickens are killed every single day in order to sustain demands for their meat. And Upside Foods has spent over $200 million in research and development in order to create this technology. Let me show you how we do it. Please do. I don't understand.
When we took cells from a chicken egg in 2018, we cracked an egg, we took a small amount of cells, and we froze them in there, so that goes down to -80.
Wow. And you've used those cells to make hundreds of thousands of pounds of chicken meat.
Step 2 is we take those cells, we gently thaw them out.
Oh my gosh. This is simulating a chicken's body, and the cells are just multiplying.
Once we get enough of them, we move on to step 3.
This is protein, fat, sugar. I'm literally feeding the chicken cells over there so they can multiply into chicken meat.
That's right, yes.
And once the chicken feed is in the container, it moves all the way through these pipes and through the factory, and eventually ends up in here.
You can look through this. you'll see chicken cells just swimming and swimming in there.
Oh my goodness.
It's a lot of chicken.
Every 2 seconds, this produces a chicken's worth of chicken meat.
Yeah, every few seconds.
And saving chicken lives is not the only upside to upside foods. These chickens don't get diseases, so you don't have to worry about a disease spreading on the farm and then you eating a sick chicken. Honestly, it seems too good to be true.
Well, let's go and try it.
Blaze, I need to try it. I need to see how this tastes. Now we're gonna put the meat we just grew to the test. Come on in. I brought one of the best chefs I know, Nick DiGiovanni, and he's prepared for us 2 chicken sandwiches. One of these sandwiches, a chicken was killed today to make. The other, no chickens were killed. It was grown in a lab. Which do you think we'll like better?
I think if I cook it right, you won't be able to tell.
Okay, this is gonna be a good test. He's now giving me one of each chicken sandwich. So we're both trying this one. Here's what it actually is. Me and Drink do not know. Cheers. Cheers it. Here we go. Well, chicken. Chicken. Now we're gonna try this one. This is what it is. We don't know. Cheers it. I honestly can't tell. It's actually scary how similar they. I mean, they're both chicken. No matter what, both of them taste really good. This one's the cultivated one.
You're wrong.
No shot.
That's the cultivated one.
I honestly can't tell the difference.
And then to have the audacity to make the logo of the company a heart. And the crazy thing is, this is only one company. Movies has been exposing for years that they've been feeding us different stuff. I don't know about y'all, man, but we shouldn't be eating from these people. Upside Down Foods, you get a thumbs down. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Let's get it, y'all. Peace out.
Now, one fact that I did notice is they did point out that we have been eating mystery meat for the longest time, especially if you've been eating McDonald's chicken nuggets. We all were shocked the day they came out and said, oh, now we're serving you all white chicken meat. We're like, what were we eating before? So it's been going on for a while, but now they're just coming out letting you know, hey, this is what it is.
The X algorithm was just made public, and what we're seeing has been very controversial. Now, even if you don't use X, you should pay attention because how it works could eventually make its way to Instagram, TikTok, and beyond. Now you can ask Grok if your account is being suppressed or amplified and exactly why. At a glance, it looks like a terrifying violation of our freedom of speech. Let's look at 2 different profiles. The first is Ryan Grimm, who is a phenomenal independent journalist who writes for DropSite. He covers everything from the Epstein files to what's happening on the ground in Gaza to all of the ICE activities. Based on his history, he has a list of penalties. His posts are categorized around anti-Zionism, criticism of Israel, conspiracy theories, stereotyping, specifically towards pro-Israeli accounts, and he even has a misinformation tag. Keep in mind, he is a great investigative journalist, surfacing a lot of the truth that others are not covering. He has a list of key violations according to X, from criticism of AIPAC to even the Israeli operations that have been categorized as a genocide in Gaza. And to top it off, Grok shows him the penalties, everything from visibility reduction to reduced amplification beyond his followers, suppressed search visibility, and a reputation score 65 to 75% below average. In contrast, here is Bill Ackman's algorithm. He is an extremely pro-Israeli billionaire, the one who also just donated to the GoFundMe for the ICE agent who shot Renee Good. And he has an enhanced amplification score of 150 to 200%. And this is from positive things, according to Grok, from topical relevance, alignment with platform trends like anti-Semitism, pro-US policy, and he has no suppression. Fascinating. Censorship in the US is at all-time highs, our freedom of speech is at risk, so I'm on a mission to build the change we need before it's too late. I'm the founder of Interval, where we are highlighting the headlines that are getting suppressed or outright censored. If you're interested in the mission, hop over to interval.news, but also follow along here and on Instagram, maybe on X. TikTok and X are definitely compromised, and as much as I would like to continue covering the ways in which our worldviews are being manipulated today, I don't know if I'll be able to do that for much longer, so I hope I catch you over on Interval.
Classified CIA documents? What are psychic abilities, and what kinds are there? Intuitively speaking, they're just the seemingly paranormal abilities of the psyche, and they can be divided into 2 different types, bioinformation and bioenergetics. Bioinformation are the psychic phenomena associated with the sending or receiving of information through means other than the sensory channels or the physical body. This includes telepathy, which is the psychic transmission of mental information, either thoughts or emotions, and clairvoyance, which is the perception of information about objects, people, places, or events without actually physically perceiving them. You can think of it as perceiving things with your mind's eye, which psychically speaking has omnipresent vision, meaning you can see anywhere, any place, anytime. That's probably why the etymology of clairvoyance is literally clear vision, because it's as if you can finally see everything. Although for psychics, most of this information only comes in bits and pieces. And this includes precognition, which is psychically perceiving information about the future, or retrocognition, which is doing it for the past. And if you've ever heard of remote viewing, this is just another word for clairvoyance. Now we come to
Do electric cars give off more radiation? That's what I want to know, how much the EMF is. So we're going to test this Tesla, and then I already tested this regular car. In the regular car, it was pretty much baseline. It was 0.1 max, that's what we're getting out here, 0.1, 0.09. But let's take a ride, let's check it out. So now we're driving, you can see it's already 4, 3, 2, and it's surging up and down. As opposed to 0.1 and 0.01, we are already higher, but you can see it's going up and down. There's 3, there's 4s, there's 3s, there's a 5, so 4.5 on average. We're picking up more radiation than we did in the car, which was stable around 0.1, 0.2. Yeah, many of you asked me to do that test, and obviously it was higher, but I'm going to be honest with you, I thought it would be much higher. Your cell phone near your head is far worse radiation, but you know, they have shielded those cars. The radiation in the beginning was far more. So it's been made safer, but you know what study hasn't been done? What that means long-term over time, meaning that amount more radiation, driving a lot of hours. So, yeah, your choice.
A startup just built a laptop with no screen, and it might be the future of how we work. It's called the Spacetop G1. Made by an Israeli company called Sightful. Instead of a physical display, you get a pair of AR glasses hardwired to the keyboard that project a 100-inch virtual workspace directly in front of your eyes. That means you can sit in an airplane with the person in front of you fully reclined, and you still have a massive display to work on. You can sit in a coffee shop and nobody can see what's on your screen because the screen only exists for you. A Wired journalist tested it on a real economy flight and confirmed it actually works. The device runs on Space OS, which is Android-based, so it won't replace your Windows or Mac for everything. But for focused work in cramped spaces, this solves a problem that physical screens literally cannot. It costs $1,900 and ships this October, which puts it between a regular laptop and Apple's Vision Pro, but with a much more practical use case. Physical laptop screens have existed for over 40 years. This is the first commercial device to get rid of them entirely. Would you work on a laptop with no screen? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed stories like this, follow my page for more.
Not only would I use that, but they should solve the problem with wireless everything, like speakers, interfaces, the microphones. Yeah, they definitely should get on top of all that, because that's a big industry that should definitely be problem solved.
China is pulling ahead in the AI race, and it's not because of better chatbots. New data shows China is adopting AI faster than the global average, filing more AI patents than any country, and deploying robots across industry at massive scale. Its top AI models are also closing the gap with the US, especially in open source performance. Meanwhile, much of the West remains more nervous about AI than excited to use it. This isn't a race to the smartest model. It's a race to who actually puts AI to work. And right now, China is doing that faster than anyone. Follow for continual updates on the global AI race.
Altman's first big deal was selling his first company, Looped, a service for locating your friends. That's something that inherently needs lots of users to work, or else you're just locating yourself. But the whole time, Looped refused to say how many users they had. Altman just insisted there were, quote, way more users than any other similar service. It turns out, though, that towards the end, Looped only had 500 users. When Reuters reported this, Altman insisted it was 100 times more than that, and that he'd provide evidence. He never did. Just trust me, bro. Looped sold to the Green Dot Corporation, who shut it down immediately and never used any of the tech. Green Dot investors allege it was a dirty deal done to enrich Sequoia Capital, a VC firm with a stake in Looped, and 2 board members at Green Dot who helped approve the deal. Altman left Green Dot as soon as he was legally able, walking away with millions for building an app that no longer existed in any form.
This dark world we're in, I've noticed a pattern in what is being represented. People think that this stuff is just a game. There is a reason why you see people dressed up as Satan, not just, like Satan slipping himself in a little bit. No, full on visuals of Satan, people dressed as Satan, dressed as a demon, got upside down crosses all on their clothes or pentagrams on their clothes. And people are just like, oh, that's funny. It's, we're making fun. No, there's a reason why the entertainment industry is doing that, y'all.
What you just heard is the truth about what's being done to you. The problem is you don't even realize it anymore. All those music videos where celebrities dress as demons are no longer just costumes. The goal is to make it feel normal so it no longer shocks you. Take Doja Cat. Her radical transformation into a demonic figure for her Scarlet era is not an artistic choice. It's a message. We see filmed rituals, shaved heads, and disturbing imagery sold as pop culture, and she's far from the only one. Sam Smith crossed a point of no return at the Grammys with a Red Mask style performance that went viral. Lil Nas X went as far as selling shoes, some allegedly containing human blood, marked with a forbidden number. Then there's Madonna, Ice Spice, and Playboy Cardi with his Baphomet imagery and tattoos. The list keeps growing every day. They are counting on your blindness. They want you to think it's cool or provocative, while making sure these dark frequencies settle into your subconscious. This is no longer entertainment, it's an open-air ceremony. How many more signs will it take for you to understand that this is no longer just about entertainment? If you refuse to look away too, share this video immediately and tell me in the comments which celebrity you think has gone way too far.
Okay guys, things are getting pretty scary in Minneapolis right now, to the point where Trump is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act and deploy the military, while Tim Walz, the state's governor, has activated the National Guard. So here's what's going on. As you would have heard by now, yesterday there was yet another fatal shooting of a U.S. citizen by an ICE agent, and the man has now been identified as registered nurse Alex Pretty, who also happened to be 37 years old, the same age as Renee Good, who was killed earlier this month. And very similar to that incident as well, federal officials are framing this as a defensive shooting, while state officials are suggesting this is straight up murder. And if you guys thought tensions were high before, you should see what is happening today. Hundreds of protesters have taken to the streets in freezing temperatures, clashing with federal agents, demanding ICE to leave Minneapolis now. One person was arrested after allegedly biting off the fingertip of a federal agent, and I mean off. They posted pictures and everything. There were even reports of demonstrators setting up barricades around city blocks. And that's particularly significant because a national security analyst spoke with News Nation, and they said that these barricades could be used as a legal predicate for Trump to invoke the Insurrection Act and deploy active duty military onto the streets of Minneapolis. And this is all while the local police have requested the assistance of Minnesota's National Guard to support the deputies in this growing unrest. So imagine a situation here where you have the National Guard, local police, ICE agents, and army troops all in the same city. There's even an Antifa member going viral right now on X calling for people to suit up, arm themselves, and he said that he is not talking about peaceful protests anymore. So yeah, a lot could unfold in the next few days. So as always, I'll keep you guys updated.
Minneapolis definitely has a lot going on, and I hope they get that resolved with the quickness.
What would happen if we gave AI access to a full computer? These researchers did, and I'm not exaggerating when I say these AIs went rogue in the best way possible. And when I say access to a computer, I don't just mean some API calls, but an actual computer with a Ubuntu terminal, internet access, file systems, and the ability to run code. Basically all the main components you have on your laptop right now. They then built a sandbox environment, and through GPT-5, Claude, DeepSeek without any special training. The researchers started with the chemistry problem. The AI needs to predict molecular properties, but it only has the names of compounds. So there's no instructions, no databases, no chemistry knowledge beyond its training data. And for a normal AI, this would be game over or a hallucinated answer. But the AI in the sandbox opens terminal, it types install default JRE, it installs Java, then it goes to GitHub, finds Opsin, which is a specialized chemistry library, downloads it, runs it, and then converts every single compound name into a molecular structure. It solves the problem. And again, nobody programmed this. The AI looked at what it needed, realized it didn't have the tools, and then went and got them. They gave the sandbox AI a second problem. A massive document with around 100,000 words. Instead of choking on it like normal GPT would, it used grep. It searches for keywords and then uses the sed command to jump to specific sections. It reads only what it needs and perfectly answers the question. And with math problems, performance jumped 24%. With chemistry, about a 14% jump. The problem is that we've been building these incredibly powerful reasoning engines and then forcing them to be in a cage. Their memory sucks, they have limited tool access, there's no ability to learn anything new. But the moment you give these models what humans use every day, basically computer access, they unlock entirely new capabilities. And Anthropic is already onto this. They're exploring something similar with Claude Cowork. This is where things are headed in 2026. Follow and I'll keep you posted.
Letting the AI beast out of the cage. This is where it gets interesting and where we need to pay the most attention. Well, you guys, that's another one in the books, man. I appreciate you guys for stopping by yet again and watching another one with me. Make sure to smash that hype button for me. Smash that subscribe button if you're not a part of the iTrack fam. And hit that like button on the way out. Helps the video out a whole lot. All right, I'll catch you on the next one.